I got into real estate, and we'll start from me first working at a sales job. I used to go door knocking, door to door to sell. I guess you want to call it selling, but I was working with sick kids hospital, so
Mm,
I'd get people to kind of donate, and then I used to work on commission based.
yeah.
And then I got used to knocking on people's doors and introducing myself and
Mm,
building a genuine connection with people
yeah.
to try to get them to do a good deed, right? So it was a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
And then I slowly started to learn about real estate investing, and I went on my own little journey, created a website on real estate investing and all that. And then COVID hit.
Mm,
During COVID times, I was just figuring myself out. I was trying to apply to jobs, and I was trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. And
mm,
I used my sales experience tied with my real estate investment love, and I was like, you know what? Let me get my license. And I got into it, man. I got 6 months in. I got my real estate license. I got licensed, but I got licensed at a bad time. Let's
yeah.
just say that. But bad times, they create good men, right?
Yeah.
That's what they say, right? So
Yeah. We were
that Joe
talking
Rogan
about it.
quote, and that's what it was, man. I got into it. Things were a bit rough. The market was all over the place, and it was definitely a learning lesson,
A
right? So,
learning curve. I can
yeah,
tell that for sure. You can look at it in a perspective where it's like there's for me, I look at it as a time where it's like when you yes, you got certified, you have your license, but when you actually get into real estate, that's when the learning begins. That's when it comes to actually networking, building your circle, your network, your clients, and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. So for you to kind of get in at a bad time, it kind of forces you to kind of okay, I'm full on educating, working on my networks, and kind of get you to grind. Because obviously, no matter what time you get into real estate or any industry in general,
yeah,
there's a learning curve, right? You have
yeah,
to kind of go through the hardships, the adversity, and like I said before, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You have to kind of put in the work, kind of try to understand what it is that you're looking for when it comes to building relationships
yeah.
and clientele, right? So, a question for me, the question is, what is the market like nowadays? Like, obviously, we've talked about COVID and how that's affected the market, but
Yeah.
um, like I've told you before, I've spoken to a couple agents and it's inspiring for them to say the same thing over and over again. They're like, Mahdi, we advise you to wait 2 to 3 years because we don't even know what's going on with the markets. And not essentially saying that you have to talk to a real estate agent when it comes to wanting to buy a home, but
Yeah.
you should always stay in that network. You have to find a realtor that's going to be transparent with you. So my question to you is what is the market like right now and what is the approach moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the market's in shambles. I'm not going to say it's at the best right now, but
Yeah.
going back to a key point, I'll answer your market question, but
Yeah,
you,
go
you
ahead.
brought up a beautiful point that I want to
Mhm.
address before I go into the market and deep dive into that.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that is, yes, when you're first introduced into real estate, you guys think it's millions of dollars and constantly getting
Mm.
beautiful listings. Guys, it's not that way. You're a lone shark, man.
Straight up.
You go into this, you're a lone wolf. Nobody's there. It's just you alone. And you brought up a good point, networking, guys. Network is your net worth, right? You got to put in the work. You got to go out there,
Mm.
introduce yourself, meet up, go to conferences, meet up with all these big guys. And I was at a conference this weekend, and I got to see these top producing agents
Yeah,
from
how
all
was
over
that? You
Canada.
were telling me
It was
about that.
amazing, man. It was a
Sick.
great, great opportunity. Shout out to Scale 2023. Beautiful event, really well organized. I got to meet a lot of interesting people there. And yeah, man, just go there, introduce yourself. I walked up to every single one of those guys and I said, "Hi, my name is Ahmed Romani. I'm from the Niagara region. Pleasure meeting you." And I took down their number and I texted them the next day. "Hey, it's Ahmed. Pleasure meeting you." You build that
Mm,
connection, and you know what, man? I got referrals. I got people sending me people here
yeah.
into the Niagara region. Your network is your net worth, right?
Mm.
So,
It's not
um,
even just that. Like I talk about all the time how I feel like especially with my journey when it comes to any discipline in general, you can't kind of compare and contrast yourself to other people, right? Like you can't, like going to this network event, for example, some people may be like, you know what? Like I'm not anywhere remotely near their status or their level. Why would they want to meet me? Why would they want to talk to me? But it's
yeah,
actually quite the opposite. You
no, yeah,
remind them of the position that they were in. Obviously, you're killing it right now as a real estate agent, but if you don't kind of get out there, put yourself in front of all these people, put yourself in that frequency and kind of vibe at that energy, because like you said, if you want to be like these people, you have to surround yourself with them. And
yeah.
who was it that hosted that event?
It's a guy called Ahmed. Actually, funny enough, his name is Ahmed. He's from
Yeah,
Toronto.
Scale
Shout out
23. You
Ahmed.
said.
Scale 2023.
Yeah. So who hosts these events, for example?
So it's a sometimes it's just a realtor who brings a lot of people together. It's usually a person with a
Yeah,
good
you
network,
always have
right?
something to offer too, right? You find
Yeah,
yourself like
yeah,
doesn't matter with what industry you're in. There's always something for you to offer. There's always something to learn, no matter what. And in any
Yeah.
industry, it's the same thing, you know.
Yeah,
So
100%. 100%.
going on with that question about what the market's like and the approach.
Yeah, so let's get back to the market.
Yeah,
Obviously, when I joined, it was during COVID, so things were still a bit shaky. We were dealing with a market where there was high demand and there was not a lot of inventory in terms of the market, right? So there wasn't a lot of houses. And what was happening is, we had bidding wars, we had multiple offers, people fighting to buy a place. And yeah, things just kind of, escalated down that way. And people were buying because the interest rates were low, around 2%. But now things have shifted
yeah,
drastically, right? So now the Bank of Canada increased the interest rates. So we see this very, very steep drop in price, right,
hmm
to where we are right now. It's not really fixed the issue. We're still in a housing shortage, so there's still demand. But especially now during the spring, summertime, there's going to be some demand. A lot of buyers are going to coming back in, right? And we're
hmm
seeing that right now in May. But what's happened is it kind of it's cooling off the market a bit. So,
yeah.
uh, you
It's a
know,
good time to kind of recover and
yeah,
kind of. I
yeah,
want to kind of get into like how important it is to have a realtor that best suits your needs. You know, like I said it again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, is whether you're trying to buy a home or not, you should always have a realtor that you can rely on when it comes to education. Because, for example, I'm not that educated in the real estate market, and I always have you to kind of inform me
yeah,
of the education and connections that you know that are kind of allowing you to understand your client and what it is that he needs, right? So the fundamentals, the education, the vision that they have in terms
right,
of what it is that they're looking for, you know.
yeah, yeah,
And like you said, like you have to always have a pragmatic approach per se, you know, like
yeah,
everything's shifting, everything's constantly shifting, so you have to kind of keep in touch and kind of stay up to date with all those kind of things. So how important is it for someone to have someone that can represent them and be as transparent to them? And I understand that you were saying earlier as well, it's very important to be meticulous with who you surround yourself with. You know, you
that's
have to
true.
find someone that best suits your needs.
Yeah,
And I mean, mistakes happen. You might surround yourself or have someone to be your mentor, and they don't quite suit.
your
Talk to me
needs.
about that. They don't
Yeah.
suit your needs and
So
things of that
definitely,
nature.
man. When it comes to connecting with a realtor, you want to make sure that you have a realtor that gives you value, that actually teaches you about the market, right? That sits you down and be like, okay, what are you looking to do here? Are you
Mm-hmm.
are you are you looking to buy or you're looking to sell? All right, you're looking to sell or buy. Why are you looking to buy or sell? What that's going to do, man, it's going to give you a lot of information. It's going to show you their motivation,
Mm-hmm.
right? If somebody comes up to you and they're like, we're not really sure what we want to do yet, and they're going back and forth between their decisions, then I could tell you, man, 100% they're not going to do anything,
And
right?
it's funny you say that. You talked to me, sorry to cut you off. Talked to me the other day. You're like, I have a showing. And you're like, I can tell you, Mehdi, this individual is not going to buy.
Yeah,
He's not going to buy. And I'm like, why are
yeah,
you going to the showing? You're like, because I have to.
I have to.
It's my job.
Yes,
Comfortability is my number one go to when it comes to my clientele. You know, I
yes,
want them to be comfortable.
yes.
I want them to be able to, even if they don't understand it, I want them to understand it at
That's right.
best. And I want them to be comfortable by the time
That's fine.
they finish
Yeah,
I finish the showing or we finish the meeting,
yeah,
XYZ, you know,
yeah,
because it's all long term, you know, it's going to take some time.
yeah.
And
That's my job, man. It's
it's
literally
inspiring.
education, educating the client, taking them to showings, showing them what's out there. But also, you don't want to spend too much time just kind of dealing with a client who's hesitant, because what all that's going to do is really waste their time and your time.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, what I'd like to do, if let's say somebody's serious about buying, hey man, let's get you pre-approved. Let's see
Mm-hmm.
let's see what you pre-qualify. Let's say your financial limitations. What are you actually able to afford?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's going to give you a budget. Like, let's say, somebody pre-qualifies for $600,000, then I can look for houses for $600,000.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take you to showings for houses that are $800,000, $900,000, because I know if we go through a deal, you're not going to get pre-approved. You're not going to get approved. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's just a waste of time. So let me do my job and find you the best house that suits your needs
Mm-hmm.
in that budget.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my job. I'll take you to those showings and I'll happily do whatever it is that you decide to do, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's placing an offer, negotiating the price, conditions, everything
Mm-hmm.
like that. That 80-20% is kind of correct in real estate as well, guys. I mean, 80% of it is psychology and
Mm-hmm.
emotion. 20% of it is just basic things like writing up the offer and negotiating the price, listing agreement, whatever, filling out forms. That's easy, guys. But 80% of it is psychology and emotion. You want to make sure that when you sit down with your client, You guys are on a psychological, pathway that you both agree on the decisions, right? You don't want to be here as a realtor and then your client is here, right? And then they want to go down a different route that you want them to go down, right? You guys have to be on the same page and you guide them. The whole point of being a realtor is education and guiding them. It's psychology. It's understanding their emotions, right? You want to look at them. Are they making this decision based on emotions or on logic, right? If they're coming at it because they're angry or they're upset at something or somebody or their business or whatever, that's gonna backfire, man. You gotta
100%.
really ease
Yeah.
into it and take time. Give them time. Sometimes I'll tell my client, hey, listen, man, let's give it a week. Let's give it 2 weeks, right? Just for you to kind of understand what it is that you want to do. And that's very true because sometimes it'll be conflicting with their decision. It'll be like, I'm not sure yet. I want to do this because of this or this. They don't actually have a solid reason. And as a realtor, you want to make sure that you're extra cautious because you don't want to sign that listing agreement and then a week later they're like, cancel the agreement, you're fired. Like you clearly didn't do your job, right?
Yeah.
You didn't pre-qualify them. You didn't actually talk to them as a human being. You're just like, okay, let's sign here, and then put on the market, and
Yeah.
then a week or two later, that problem gets solved with them, and then they're like, okay,
Bro,
guys, get a mentor. Whether you're in real estate, whether you're in trading, especially if you're new, get a mentor. It's huge, man. It's huge. You don't understand the benefits of having a mentor.
maneuver towards, you mentioned about descriptions and writing up offers and things of that nature. Obviously, what's trending now, we see all over social media. Most talked about is AI,
Yeah,
artificial intelligence.
yeah.
So, what is the approach when it comes to AI and the real estate market? Is it a scary thing? Is it used as a tool? What's going on? How are you using it? And if you're using it, how are you using it to kind of benefit yourself when it comes to
It's
completing
scary because
tasks?
of how good it is, guys. I mean, AI is amazing. It's helped me out a lot. I use it, for writing descriptions, for automation, whether that's sending emails, automatic messages, updates on the market. It's very technical, and I love that, man. It makes my job way easier. It makes it more accurate and less time. So it's
That's
a win-win.
interesting. That's good to
I, I
hear.
I feel like every business should use chat gpt or any form of ai to help them, right?
So it's all positive news for you
A
guys
hundred
right now. It's
percent
not going
it's
to
all
take
positive.
over
No
any
way.
sort of platform that you use like MLS to kind of
No. Well,
uh,
it could potentially come down to as a tool for a client. For example, if they're looking for a specific property, let's say, or they're looking for, like, let's say, a bungalow, 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, acre plus lot, modern style home in Chippewa, right? Well, you put that into the chat GPT and it might spit out like a property on the market right now that might interest you. So there is advantages, but is it going to replace agents? I don't think so. Why?
100%. That makes no.
Yeah, it's not, because it can't take you on showings. It can't negotiate prices for you. It can't write up offers for you the way that you want it. It can't, put in the conditions that you really need. And it just can't do all these things that
Doesn't
that
have the
needs.
instincts a regular human
No,
has. You
no,
always want to communicate to a human. It's not
no.
the same. No one wants
Yeah.
to kind of.
Well, it's also a bit too early right now because we're just getting into AI. So I
Mhm.
honestly don't know, man. Unless Elon pulls a crazy one and starts creating these robots, right? Who just like turn into realtors, right? And you never
Can
know.
you imagine, man? A robot just
Yeah,
pulls up to your house,
that's
right?
it.
Ready to go to the showing.
That's
Let's
it.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
So
let's
that's
let's
it.
hope the world never comes to that.
Yeah,
Never want to see that.
exactly.
But like,
It's a long
that's the
term
thing.
play here because in real estate, for example, for me, I always tell my clients, you marry the price and date the rate. It's kind of like a popular saying amongst us. It's when you're buying real estate, you're buying it at the price. That's not going to change forever. Whereas the rate could change, right? It could increase, decrease,
Hmm.
right? And for us right now, it's like buy and hold, right?
Yeah.
If you want to use trading terminology, it's
Yeah.
like buy and hold,
Hmm.
right? You buy the property because you're buying it low, but you're dating the rate that's going to switch,
Hmm.
right? So you could refinance once the rates go back down. You could pull the equity back out. You basically learn, right? When you put in your first offer, your first negotiation, your first listing. That's after you've done that once or twice. You're like, okay, I got the hang of this. I know how this goes, right? And it's all about personality too, man. It's a lot of psychology, a lot of emotion. So you gotta be